When the Spanish conquistadors arrived in Mesoamerica, they learned of the rich and mighty Aztecs, the most powerful civilization in the New World. The Aztec capital was Tenochtitlan, a city of more than 200,000 people filled with gold and silver. At the center of Tenochtitlan stood a towering pyramid, topped by temples for the Aztec gods of the sun and the rain. Palaces for wealthy Aztec nobles surrounded the pyramids. Their great wealth and power obscured the fact that the Aztecs hid even from themselves. Not long before, they were a desperately poor nomadic people who wandered onto the land that would become their home in the Central Valley of Mexico. The Aztecs trace their history to Aztlan, an area north of the Central Valley of Mexico, perhaps in what is now the southwestern United States. The Aztecs called themselves the Mexica, a name from which Mexico is derived. The term Aztec means person of Aztlan. It was first used by scholars in the 19th century to distinguish the modern people of Mexico from the ancient civilization. When the Aztecs arrived in the Central Valley of Mexico about 1300, they were scorned by their neighbors. The people of the valley considered themselves to be the proud descendants of the Toltec people, while they viewed the Aztecs as savage, uncivilized drifters. The Aztecs wandered around the valley until the king of Kuluwakan allowed the Aztecs a permanent home in exchange for working as mercenaries. Mercenaries are soldiers hired to fight for a living. The Aztecs also worked at lowly jobs that other people rejected. As time passed, the Kuluwakan people began to respect the hard work and brutal fighting skills of the Aztecs. In 1323, the king of Kuluwakan offered his daughter in marriage to the Aztecs, thereby inviting them into the king's royal family. The Aztecs sacrificed the Kuluwakan princess to Huitzilopochtli, their bloodthirsty god of war. The enraged king expelled the Aztecs, forcing them once again to wander the Central Valley of Mexico. The Aztecs lived in a land of earthquakes that caused great destruction. Their legend said that the gods destroyed and recreated the world over and over. They believed that the world would be destroyed once again if they did not satisfy their gods by providing them with human sacrifices. An Aztec priest had a vision that they should build their new home at a place where they found an eagle sitting on a cactus with a snake in its mouth. After 2 years of wandering, the Aztecs found this unique vision on a small island in the middle of Lake Texcoco, so they waded into the shallow lake to build their new home. The image of the eagle, cactus, and snake are part of the flag of present-day Mexico. The Aztecs created farmland in their new home by constructing a series of artificial islands called Chinampas. They marked off small areas with poles and clay walls, then filled the space with muck taken from other parts of the lake, leaving enough room for canoes to travel between the islands. The surfaces of the Chinampas were fertile lands that provided the Aztecs with as many as 7 harvests a year. In 1427, the Aztecs formed a secret agreement with 2 other kingdoms. This triple alliance conquered the other cultures of the valley and forced the cultures to pay tribute or payment for protection. When they gained control of the Central Valley of Mexico, the Aztecs rewrote history to hide their humble origins. Tlacaelel was the half-brother and closest advisor to Aztec king Moctezuma I. Tlacaelel ordered all old history books burned so there would be no memory of who the Aztecs once were. Tlacaelel's new history said Huitzilopochtli chose the Aztecs to rule the valley. By erasing history, the Aztecs made their transformation complete. They had gone from peasants to princes.